Good morning. We'll call you back. Okay, sorry. Start. We have a few bills in front of you today. It's voting list number 10. First bill, please.
Is House Bill 31. We discussed this bill briefly yesterday. It is the right to repair powered wheelchairs. There's one amendment now in your packet that simply removes from the bill those very, very specialized wheelchairs, the ones that are highly customized and highly specialized.
Please.
Move the amendment.
On the amendment, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is this discussion on the amendment or on the bill, sir?
I mean,
On the amendment?
I'll take it on the bill, or the amendment.
Go ahead, sir.
So this bill, in my opinion, is no different than the John Deere conversation. You've got a combine and things running around on the field, and if you give the owner the right to repair it, which is what you'd be doing under similar bills like this, are they responsible for something goes wrong, something happens? And this bill, the only thing I said during subcommittee is, wheelchair being repaired like this, just keep in mind these wheelchairs go across a street out in public. You want these things to work correctly, and removing the critical component of having people that are authorized and know how to conduct these repairs, I think is important from a public safety standpoint. And I'll stop my concern there because I think ultimately any of these bills come down to consumer protection as whether or not it's the best practice to let somebody crack the computer system, even fix mechanical components to things that may require specialized knowledge that they'd have to get under this bill. So I worry more about the safety component if we pass this bill and what might happen. That's my...
No, I appreciate that. I'll be honest. Obviously, that's always a great concern of mine. We try to narrowly tailor this bill, make sure that the manufacturers were not responsible for any defective repairs. However, to your point, that doesn't change the possible public safety issue. I know the handicapable community has been very much, pushing this. And while my stance are generally a little more hesitant on right to repair, again, this is obviously a vote for who, however you want to take your vote. But we try to narrowly tailor this bill and make sure there's an understanding that just because we're doing it for wheelchairs, there are a lot of other things we're being concerned with when we talk about right to repair. As far as access to personal data, this generally, affect that. Access to the ability to, let's say, overclock something, emissions, things of that. So normally those are the things. So I'm not disagreeing with you totally. Just I think in balance, that's where I think the subcommittee went, is just in this narrow set of circumstances. Seth.
Very briefly, you and I talked out in the hall a little bit about where the cost would lie. And I was just wondering, you and I talked out at the end of committee the other day just about where the cost would lie. Did you have any?
So we had conversations with them. The way that my understanding is that the manufacturers would be on the line for this, because this amendment does not deal with the prior authorizations thing. In this particular context, the consumer is not generally on the hook for it, and neither is the repair shop.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
The same question you had about the repairs and who pays for the repairs, correct?
Yeah.
How is highly specialized defined in the amendment?
So it says, it mentions positioning components designed for adjustment by therapists or assistive technology professional armors. What they are really trying to get at, and the example that's been used is it's the Christopher Reeves wheelchair, where he had to blow into it to get it to move. They don't want something that specialized. My understanding is they don't want someone to be able to repair that, because you have to go to somebody who essentially has the knowledge in order to make that particular repair.
Anything that has to be calibrated.
And that applies to the entire unit itself or components of the
Components of the unit.
Okay. All right, thank you.
On the bill as amended, never mind. We'll do a roll call. Any more discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Vice Chair. Aye. Delegate Harrison. Delegate Bawafo. Delegate Howard. Aye. Delegate Sharkoudian. Delegate Rose is excused. Delegate Pruski. Delegate Fennell. Delegate Turner. Delegate Valderrama. Delegate Chi. Delegate Frazier-Hidalgo. Delegate Adams. Delegate Aaron's.
No.
Delegate Pippy.
Yes.
Delegate Johnson. Delegate Rogers. Delegate Amprey. Delegate Wyval. Delegate Fisher. And Delegate Queen. Bill moves. Next bill, please.
House Bill 128 establishes the Climate Change Adaptation and Mitigation Payment Program and the Climate Change Adaptation and Mitigation Fund within the Maryland Department of the Environment. There is one amendment that alters the provisions of the bill, striking most of it and adding a study. The study would require by December 1, 2026, the comptroller, in consultation with the Department of Commerce and the Maryland Department of the Environment, to report to the General Assembly on the total assessed cost of greenhouse gas emissions. The report must include a summary of various cost-driving effects of covered greenhouse gas emissions in the state, a categorized calculation of the costs incurred and projected to be incurred by the state and its residents for each cost-driving effect identified, a calculation of the costs incurred and projected to be incurred by the state and its residents for related mitigation efforts, and an economic analysis to determine whether certain costs will be passed on to taxpayers.
Move the amendment.
On the amendment, is there any discussion? Reminding my colleagues that this is now just a study bill. Hearing none. All in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none.
Move the bill as amended.
On the bill as amended, is there any discussion? Seeing none. Mr. Vice Chair.
Aye.
Delegate Harrison. Delegate Boafo. Delegate Howard.
No.
Delegate Sharkoudian. Yes. Delegate Rose is excused. Delegate Pruski. Delegate Fennell. Delegate Turner. Delegate Valderrama. Delegate Chi. Delegate Frazier-Hidalgo. Delegate Adams. Delegate Aaron's. Delegate Pippy. Delegate Johnson. Delegate Rogers. Delegate Amprey. Delegate Wyval. Delegate Fisher. Delegate Queen. Thank you very much. The bill moves. Next bill, please. Sorry.
Give me 1 second. House Bill 267 prohibits, except as authorized under federal law, a person that is not accredited by the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs from receiving compensation for preparing, presenting, or prosecuting a veteran's benefits matter or advising, consulting, or assisting an individual with regard to a veteran's benefits matter. There are no amendments.
Move favorable.
On the bill moving favorable, is there any discussion? Yes, sir.
Does this bill require new licenses or just training?
Should require a license.
It's not a new license, but it would require individuals to get
The license.
that is established already in the federal law.
Okay, so apparently people are acting on behalf of things without a license.
Correct.
Correct, yes.
Who was against this?
Those companies.
Yeah, those companies.
A lot of the companies that were doing it, I don't know if you remember the discussion,
The only one I saw, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Please.
The only one I saw was a union. And what was their issue with it? Do you recall?
1 second.
a union?
Yes.
That's what I was looking at. Yeah. The committee testimony, I went down and I'm looking at,
Be in favor.
Yeah.
IBT BMWED.
Yes. It's the Brotherhood of Maintenance of Way Employees Division. They wrote in opposition to oppose the bill. They're proud to encourage private expert support to our veteran members. Our members are armed with all the information available to them and appreciate the ability to make the best choice for them and their families. They've been working closely with Veterans Guardian to educate their members on the full range of options free of charge and for a fee. They're proud to work with the veterans.
That's enough. This is not a veterans union, right?
No, I think what it is, Mr. Chair.
Hell,
is
yeah, we.
A union with a bunch of veterans in it.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then they-
that's most unions, hilarious. Yeah, that's people going out of their, out of their way, I guess.
To accept it.
No.
Okay. All right.
We had amendments and we had to strike them because they were deemed unconstitutional.
All right, thank you.
Question, sorry. Mr. Chairman.
Please,
Is it, they have to get a license or they just have to take an online?
license.
So they take the training to get that license. It's a training. We talked about that.
I apologize, so you're saying
We left the license part out, but yeah, I got you. I got the
the
training
license?
part.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any further questions, any discussion? On the bill, move in favor, Mr. Vice Chair.
Aye.
Delegate Harrison. Delegate Waffo. Delegate Howard.
Yes.
Delegate Charkoudian. Delegate Rose is excused. Delegate Pruski. Delegate Fennell. Delegate Turner. Delegate Valderrama. Delegate Chi. Delegate Frazier Dago. Delegate Adams. Delegate Ernst.
No for now.
Delegate Pippy. Delegate Johnson. Card laid, no. Johnson is aye. Delegate Rogers. Delegate Amprey. Delegate Weigel. Delegate Fisher. Delegate Queen. Bill moves forward. Next bill, please.
House Bill
Is
505,
being held. Move on to next bill, please.
The next bill is House Bill 693. This bill establishes a regulatory framework for businesses that engage in commercial financing
Move
transactions.
favorable.
No amendments.
The bill's favorable, no amendments or any discussion. On the bill, moving favorable. Delegate Crosby. Delegate Harrison. Delegate Boafo. Delegate Howard. Delegate Charkoudian. Delegate Rose is excused. Delegate Pruski. Delegate Fennell. Delegate Turner. Delegate Valderrama. Delegate Chi. Delegate Frazier Dago. Delegate Adams.
No.
Delegate Ernst.
No.
Delegate Pippy. Delegate Johnson. Delegate Rogers. Delegate Amprey. Delegate Weigel. Delegate Fisher. Delegate Queen. Next bill, please.
The next bill is House Bill 8.
Holding, yeah, I don't think we've had any discussion on this bill, so we have to hold it to find out. The mattress stewardship bill, we haven't, it was jointly, right, they voted for it, they voted it out, yeah, which is why they, huh? It's good. All right, so we'll revisit that, but for the moment, we're holding it till we get a little more information to make sure I can answer all your questions. Next bill, please.
House Bill 861 requires each transportation network company to provide access to itemized digital receipts for its customers and transportation network operators. There's an amendment that strikes the itemized reporting requirements under the bill and requires certain weekly fare and earnings summaries to be provided to operators.
Move the amendment.
On the amendment, any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. On the bill as amended, there's a motion.
Bill is amended.
Thank you. It's properly seconded. I'm assuming. Do I hear a second? There you go. All right. Any discussion on the bill as amended? It's that Uber bill.
They worked it out.
They worked it out.
They worked it out. Uber has blessed off on it. And Lyft was apparently always cool. Nope.
On the bill as amended, Mr. Vice Chair.
Aye.
Delegate Harrison. Delegate Waffo. Delegate Howard.
Yes.
Delegate Charkoudian. Delegate Rose is excused. Delegate Pruski. Delegate Fennell. Delegate Turner. Delegate Valderrama. Delegate Chi. Delegate Frazier Dago. Delegate Adams. Delegate Ernst. Delegate Pippy. Delegate Johnson. Delegate Rogers. Delegate Amprey. Delegate Weigel. Delegate Fisher. Delegate Queen. Bill moves forward. Next bill, please.
House Bill 960 prohibits an investor-owned electric company, gas company, or combination gas and electric company from recovering through rates any costs associated with specified activities, including lobbying or political activities. There is an amendment that strikes many provisions of the bill and alters the bill to prohibit the recovery through rates, certain costs associated with trade associations and private planes.
Move the amendment.
On the amendment, is there any discussion? Delegate Pippy? All in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none on the bill?
Move the bill as amended.
On the bill is amended. Is there any discussion, Delegate Pippy? Any discussion? Seeing none. Mr. Vice Chair.
Aye.
Delegate Harrison. Delegate Boafo. Delegate Howard.
Yes.
Delegate Charkoudian. Delegate Rose. Delegate, apologize. Delegate Rose excused. Delegate Pruski. Delegate Fennell. Delegate Turner. Delegate Valderrama. Delegate Chi. Delegate Frazier Dago. Delegate Adams.
Yes.
Delegate Ernst. Delegate Pippy.
Yes.
Delegate Johnson. Delegate Rogers. Delegate Amprey. Delegate Weigel. Delegate Queen, or Delegate Fisher. There you go. You don't let me down, Mark. Delegate Queen. Outstanding. Bill moves. Next bill, please.
House Bill 1021 prohibits the State Commission of Real Estate Appraisers, appraisal management companies, and home inspectors from requiring an applicant to hold a bachelor's degree or higher to qualify for a certain certification or licensure as a real estate appraiser. There is an amendment that clarifies that an applicant may not be required to hold a bachelor's degree or higher for residential certification.
So what does the bill do as amended?
It prohibits the State Commission from requiring a bachelor's degree or higher for residential certification.
All right.
Move the amendment.
On the amendment, any discussion? They weren't,
Just for, there are 3 levels. There's, the highest level still requires a bachelor's degree or higher. But the existing, the other 2 don't require a bachelor's degree or higher already.
Council, maybe this will clarify. It basically codifies what we're already doing.
right, it doesn't change anything. I was gonna say, literally, almost doesn't do anything, but it codifies what we're already doing.
Yeah, that's fine, and I'm all for it, that's,
Yeah,
you know.
I just wanted for clarification.
Yeah.
Any further discussion on the bill as amended?
Move the bills, oh, wait, we gotta adopt it.
Wait, adopt the amendments. All in favor of the amendment, say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none.
Move the bills amended.
On the bill as amended, any discussion? Hearing none. Well, we go down the list. Delegate Crosby.
Aye.
Delegate Harrison. Delegate Boafo. Delegate Howard.
Yes.
Delegate Shakudian. Delegate Rose is excused. Delegate Pruski. Delegate Fennell. Delegate Turner. Delegate Valderrama. Delegate Chi. Delegate Frazier Dago. Delegate Adams. Delegate Ernst. Delegate Pippi. Delegate Johnson. Delegate Rogers. Delegate Amprey. Delegate Weigel. Whoa. Delegate Fisher. All right. And Delegate Queen. Wow. There we go. Yeah, all right. Next bill, please. Next bill is being held. Next bill, 1089 is being held. 1098, please.
House Bill 1098 requires the Maryland Automobile Insurance Fund to calculate and report its risk-based capital, maintain a certain amount of surplus and reserve funds, and alter the threshold for an assessment where the Maryland Insurance Administration would exercise prior approval over the fund's rate-making standards if it falls below a certain level. The bill also requires the Maryland Insurance Administration to conduct a study on the affordability of private passenger automobile insurance.
Move the amendment.
On the amendment, any discussion?
I didn't.
Apologize.
The amendments add 1 representative of a private passenger automobile insurance producer in the state to the membership. In the study, requires MIA to study current financial status of private passenger automobile insurers in the state and consider input from relevant stakeholders, including the reinsurance industry. Removes the requirement that may prepare and submit an RBC plan, clarifies that if the funds, and authorizes.
Move the amendment.
We adjusted some things. On the amendments, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. On the bill?
Move the bills amended.
On the bill's amendment, is there any discussion? Seeing some, Delegate Pippi.
So as amended, I think there was most of the bill I'm okay with, but there was a section of the bill that I had some issues with, and that was related to, there's a very large one-time assessment. And as I understand it, that assessment would go against everybody in the state to build up the reserves to provide some relief for the people that participate in the program. But that is a potentially big deal, because
Yes,
that's a
it is.
one-time, potentially very large assessment. And so I think for that reason, I'll probably go down on the bill, because that is going to increase rates on everybody.
But as design, the way it's set up now, there will be an assessment this year, and there'll be another assessment next year, and there's going to be another I mean, right now, the way if we don't address this, there will be 3 assessments back to back to back.
But they're smaller.
I mean, yes, they are. Versus one assessment that should take care of it, predictability. It's just,
Yeah, so I was thinking of it kind of like like stride, you know what I mean? I mean, not to mix apples and oranges, but people are freaking out about their utility bills because there's a massive increase in fees. And so I think this would probably have a potential similar effect, which would come across as, you know, the General Assembly's raising my car insurance rates.
got you.
And I understand the long-term plan, but,
Yeah.
you know, that
It's
was
just
it.
more affordable. I totally get that we'd be saving money in the long term, but I understand your point about the
Yeah.
immediate impact. Delegate Aaron's.
When I agree with this, a little bit's better than a lot right now with everything else we're going through. That's why I'll probably be done. But is there any consideration to actually dig into MAFE and why we continue to do this?
Go ahead, David.
That's the part I like, which is the
Yeah.
study part.
Is that-
So that is a great question, and that is basically the point of this entire bill.
Yes.
That's the point of the whole bill. So the bill has a very robust study in it, and the study is to look at insurance rates overall, but specifically the relationship with MAFE and the insurance rates and why we've gone through, or why MAFE has gone through, you know, all these assessments and why MAFE has burned through all of this. So the objective for the study is to come back and report on this, and this piece that Delegate Pippy's talking about gives us a little bit of a buffer, so we can come back and attempt to fix all this next year.
Can't we do the study first, and then we decide to do this?
Because by the time we did that, then we'd have at least 2 assessments. This year's assessment and next year's assessment.
I guess, and I appreciate that, but I think we know why we burned through this money, because we're insuring people that can't get insurance and they're wrecking and
It's all a question of affordability. It's how we define affordability, which is a big piece of the study, is to.
I think I'll stand with him on that. I agree with that part. The other part I'm having difficulty with, and I'd love to be part of that study if I could.
Part of the what?
The study. So, okay, thank
Floor
you.
leader.
Motorcycles?
No, not floor leader on the bill.
Oh,
okay. I'd get up there and say, you got to understand.
Okay, all right. On the bill as amended, Mr. Vice Chair.
Aye.
Delegate Harrison. Delegate Boafo. Delegate Howard. No. Delegate Charkoudian. Delegate Rose is excused. Delegate Pruski. Yes. Delegate Fennell. Yes. Delegate Turner. Yes. Delegate Valderrama. Delegate Chi. Yes. Delegate Frazier-Dago. Yes. Delegate Adams.
Yes.
Delegate Aaron's.
No.
Delegate Pippy.
No.
Delegate Johnson. Delegate Rogers. Delegate Amprey. Delegate Wyval. Delegate Fisher. And Delegate Queen. Wyval, did you say yes?
I did.
Oh, I'm so confused. Right. Right? I was already confused once. All right. All right, well, bill passes.
Yeah.
Next bill, please.
Okay, next bill is House Bill 1516. It establishes that various consumer credit provisions in the financial institutions article generally does not apply to a person that acquires or is assigned in whole or in part a mortgage if the person does not otherwise make mortgages, a mortgage loan as defined in the Maryland mortgage lender law, if the person does not otherwise make mortgages or engage in the mortgage lending business, or an installment loan if the.
Favorable.
Is the bill amended?
It's clean. It's different than the
Wait,
Senate.
is the bill clean? Or amendments?
Yeah, we're skipping.
What bill did we just skip?
We're doing 1516.
All right. The move is favorable.
Was there any opposition to the bill?
Yes, there was.
Look, there's still opponents, this bill is going to pass out of the House in a different posture than it is passing out of the Senate, slightly. The opponents of the bill are worried about zombie mortgages and a very small sector of the secondary mortgage market. But this bill and what Delegate Queen is proposing is to essentially go back to how the secondary mortgage market has operated for the last umpteenth years. And overdoes a court case that I guess brought in, I think, a lot more people into that ruling than I think even the court may have realized. So we just want to kind of hold things flat and keep the secondary mortgage market operating as is, but we will, through the opponents and proponents, get that small slither that we are concerned about with the zombie mortgages and certain default mortgages rectified before the full bill passes.
You said this is coming out of the House, not the Senate version.
The Senate passed it. They have an amendment on their bill. Both bills came in the same posture. Now we're going to We want our member to get their bill, so there's no amendment on this bill. So they're not in the same posture, but both are going to move through each chamber. And
What's the
then
Senate version?
they added some intent language to it.
Okay, thank you.
All right. The motion is favored, Mr. Vice Chair.
Aye.
Apologize.
No,
We
do not
don't.
have amendments on
No
this bill.
amendments on this
The
bill.
amendments,
clean.
the sponsor of the amendment withdrew them.
Yes. On the motion to move in favor, Mr. Vice Chair.
Aye.
Doug Harrison. Doug Buffo. Doug Howard. No. Doug Charkoudian. Doug Rose is excused. Doug Pruski. Doug Fennell. Doug Turner. Doug Valderrama. Doug Chi. Doug Frazier Dago. Doug Adams. Doug Arentz. Doug Pippy. Doug Johnson. Doug Rogers. Doug Ampry. Doug Weivelt. Jesus. Doug Fisher. So Doug Queen. So confused. All right, we want to go to last, at least go to, we can do 1547.
Let's do 1148.
Are you sure? We're just skipping all around? 1148.
House Bill 1148 prohibits an insurer from denying coverage based on a prior lapse in coverage of the applicant if the lapse was due to the choice of the applicant and not due to losses incurred by or the claims history of the applicant. There are amendments that specify the provisions of the bill apply to homeowners or renters insurance and authorize property and casualty insurers to require an applicant to submit an affidavit stating the applicant did not incur a loss.
On the amendments, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none on the bill.
Move the bill's amended.
On the bill as amended, is there any discussion? Is there any opposition to this bill? Can I say all present voted favorable? All in favor of the bill say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, all present voted favorable. Delegate Rose is excused. Next bill, please.
You scratch our back, we scratch yours.
House Bill 1162 prohibits a person from knowingly selling or offering to sell heating, ventilation, air conditioning, or refrigeration equipment to a person unless the person is licensed by the state board to provide or system providing HVACR services or is not required to be licensed. There is an amendment that clarifies that the bill does not apply to a person who sells construction.
On the amendments, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none on the bill as amended. On the bill as amended, is there any discussion? Seeing none, to do a roll call. Mr. Vice Chair.
Aye.
Doug Harrison. Doug Buafo. David Howard. Doug Charkoudian. Doug Rose excused. Doug Pruski. Doug Fennell. Doug Turner. Doug Valderrama. Doug Chi. Doug Frazier Dago. Doug Adams. Doug Arentz. Doug Pippy. Doug Johnson. Doug Rogers. Doug Ampry. Doug Weivelt. Doug Fisher. Doug Queen. Bill passes. Next bill, please.
House Bill
Adam said yes.
1229, as amended, requires the Board of License Commissioners for Montgomery County to consider the impact of the density of existing retail establishments licensed in the county, licensed to sell alcoholic beverages for off-premises consumption on the public health and safety of the community before deciding to approve an application for a new license.
Move the amendment.
On the amendments, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none on the bill.
amended.
On the bill as amended, is there any discussion? Is there any opposition to this bill? All in favor of the bill moving, say, as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none. Everyone present voted in favor. Delegate Rose is excused. Last bill, please.
House Bill 1547 requires the State Board of Barbers and State Board of Cosmetologists to require applicants for licensure and current license holders to complete 1 hour of domestic violence awareness training. No amendments.
Move the bill, move favorable.
The motion is favorable. Any discussion on the motion? Do I need any opposition to this bill?
Yes, it's free.
It's free. The bill number is 1547. Is there any opposition? Do we need a roll call?
Yeah, there's no fee. They don't charge for the training.
What's the penalties?
Jail.
Lots of it.
They're not penalties mentioned in the bill.
There's no penalties mentioned in the bill. All right, do we need to roll call? All right, Mr. Vice Chair.
Aye.
Doug Harrison. Doug Buafo. Doug Howard. Doug Charkoudian. Doug Rose is excused. Doug Pruski. Doug Fennell. Doug Turner. Doug Valderrama. Doug Chi. Doug Frazier Dago. Doug Adams. Doug Arentz. Doug Pippy. Doug Johnson. Doug Rogers. Doug Ampry. Doug Weivelt. Doug Fisher. Delegate Queen, bastard. All right. Thank you. All right, so everybody on the floor.